Have you ever heard the saying that men think about sex every 7 seconds? It's a very common idea, one that you see in movies, hear in jokes, and maybe even believed yourself at some point. But is it actually true? Let's take a closer look at this famous myth about dudes. The idea that men are constantly, relentlessly thinking about sex is a powerful one. If we do the math, thinking about sex every 7 seconds means a man would have over 8,000 thoughts about it in a single day, assuming he's awake for 16 hours. That's a huge number of thoughts. This paints a picture of men as being completely driven by a single desire, unable to focus on much else. However, when scientists decided to actually study this, they found something very different. The reality is much more complex and, frankly, much more normal. A major study from Ohio State University decided to put this myth to the test. Researchers gave college students, both men and women, a small clicker device. They were asked to click it every single time they had a thought about one of three things: sex, food, or sleep. The results were quite surprising and completely busted the 7-second myth. The study found that, on average, the men in the study thought about sex about 19 times per day. The women in the study thought about it around 10 times per day on average. While 19 is more than 10, it is nowhere near the 8,000 thoughts suggested by the myth. What's also fascinating is what else the students were thinking about. The men in the study actually thought about food and sleep more often than they thought about sex. On average, they had about 18 thoughts about food and 11 thoughts about sleep each day. This shows that men, just like everyone else, have basic human needs on their minds. Food and rest are just as important, and our brains spend a lot of time thinking about them. So, if the 7-second rule is just a myth, where did it come from? It's hard to trace the exact origin, but it likely grew out of social stereotypes about masculinity. These stereotypes often portray men as being single-minded and driven by primal urges, which isn't a fair or accurate picture. This myth can be problematic because it creates unrealistic expectations. It can put pressure on men to act a certain way, and it can create misunderstandings between people of different genders. It simplifies human thought and desire into a very narrow box, when in reality, people are much more diverse. Everyone's thought patterns are unique. The number of times a person thinks about sex or food or work or their hobbies can vary wildly from person to person. It can also change from day to day depending on their mood, their health, and what's happening in their life. Thinking about sex is a normal and healthy part of being human for many people. The number of times you think about it doesn't define you or your gender. It's just one part of the complex and wonderful tapestry of human thought. So the next time you hear someone say that men think about sex every 7 seconds, you'll know the real story. The science shows us a much more balanced picture, where men think about a variety of things, just like anyone else. It's a great reminder that we should be careful about believing stereotypes, even the ones that are told as jokes. Understanding the truth helps us understand each other better. We hope this helps clear up one of the biggest myths out there. For more insights and myth-busting content, be sure to follow Sex Education Raibo.